In Mexico City lives the noble family, one of the richest in the area. The father Herman is a well-known businessman and has 3 children, Javi, Barbie, and Charlie, and all of them live off the money from the trust fund left by their mother, who died of a health issue a few years ago. They're all spoiled brats that haven't worked a single day of their lives, and at first Herman doesn't notice how careless they truly are because he's always busy working and thinks his kids are still going through emotional issues because of their mother's death. Barbie is in a relationship with Peter, a failed businessman who is 20 years older than her and only wants to marry her to get enough money to pay off his huge tax debt. However, Barbie has no idea of his real intentions and is crazy about him. For Barbie's birthday, a special party is organized, and lots of extra workers come to the house to get things ready. She recognizes one of them as Lucho, the nephew of their family maid who once lived in their mansion's servant quarter. When they were teenagers, Barbie used to bother Lucho by pretending to seduce him. They were good friends when they were kids, but Lucho now hates her and always tells the other employers how she grew up to treat him like garbage. Meanwhile, the middle child Javi is the only one just kind of interested in taking over the business in the future. However, he still parties a lot with his friends and tells them he works for the company, when actually he does nothing but make up stupid ideas all day long. Today he is suggesting they should start a petrol home delivery service, and German's business partner Karim makes fun of him for it. Wanting to help Javi with his confidence, Herman gives him a file to be sent to an associate the next day. The youngest son Charlie is a college hipster who skips his classes almost every day and hits on his teachers, which often gets him in trouble. His routine also consists of joining spiritual and hippie groups that go through weird rituals. However, while he pretends he's connecting to nature in special native tents, these rituals are happening right outside 5-star restaurants. One afternoon in the office, Herman sees a bill for his children's expenses from the past month. Karim notices the crazy numbers too and warns Herman against his children's careless spending habits, which worries Garmin. He knows that he has to teach the importance of money to his kids as soon as possible, but doesn't know how. Later that day, Javi takes a bunch of his friends on a trip to Miami on his private plane, and instead of doing the task his father asked him to, he tells an assistant to do it for him. In the evening, Barbie's birthday party is a total success and everyone is having lots of fun. When she sees Lucho doing her job, she comes closer and drops food on her dress on purpose to ask Lucho to clean it. Lucho hates it, but he must obey not to lose his job, getting uncomfortable when Barbie keeps teasing him and kisses his cheek. Soon Herman joins them because he's fond of Lucho's hardworking nature, but Peter sees this and jealously interrupts them, asking for a private moment with Barbie and Herman. At that moment, Peter asks German's permission to marry his daughter. Herman wonders how Peter is going to keep her happy when he doesn't have a job while taking care of his weapon collection on purpose to look threatening, and Barbie cuts in to point out that they will use her trust fund. Suspecting that Peter is up to no good, Herman disapproves of the marriage, yet Barbie doesn't back down. She simply walks outside and announces that she and Peter are engaged. The next day, Herman is informed Javi went to Miami instead of doing the task himself. Then he gets a call from Charlie's college's dean, informing him that his son was caught having an affair with his teacher and was expelled for it. With the stress finally reaching its limit, Herman starts having trouble breathing and is taken to the hospital. It turns out Herman got a mild heart attack, which thankfully doesn't kill him. When his children come to visit him, Herman hopes this will be a wake-up call for them to see how much they stress him. However, the trio just starts arguing about movies. Once they leave, Herman decides to make it his mission to teach them a lesson. Soon he and Karim have the perfect plan. They will fake bankruptcy and send the siblings to live in the slums. Sometime later, Barbie is with her friend at a restaurant treating the waiter like garbage when suddenly her card gets declined. Javi is partying with his friends again and Charlie is in a meditation class, but they both are interrupted by a call asking them to return home immediately. By the time they arrive at the house, their phone lines have been cut too and a bunch of police cars are arriving to surround the building. The kids run inside in fear, and at that moment Herman reveals himself, taking them through the back garden and making them climb over the wall to escape. While they get away in a cab, Herman explains that he was betrayed by Karim, who has fled with all their company's money. Herman is now broke and a wanted criminal for fraud in the 3rd degree. That is not all. Since the siblings are also shareholders of the company, the police are looking for them too. This means they will have to refrain from contacting all of their relatives and live a low life away from luxury. The seriousness of the situation starts to sink in when the cab drives through the shadier parts of the city, which the kids never saw before. Herman decides to bring the kids to his father's old house, which is not listed under the company's assets. The house sadly is in ruins because it has been abandoned for decades, and since the trio has never stayed in anything other than luxury hotels, they are immediately horrified. Herman explains they will have to renovate it with time and hard work. That night, they have terrible street food for dinner and discuss the matter of money, so Herman tells the kids they have no choice but to find jobs. Later they all have to sleep on the same old mattress. The next morning, Herman wakes everyone up at 6 a.m. Barbie tries to wash herself but the faucet only releases horribly dirty water, so she ends up using hand sanitizer all over her body instead. Meanwhile, Javi goes to his friends and asks them to fund some of his ideas so he can start a business. However, the guys show their true faces, revealing they had only pretended to like Javi's ideas and refusing to help him. Afterward he tries to get a job at a cafe, but he's asking for a rich salary and gets turned down. Barbie calls Peter and tells him they have to postpone the wedding because of her money issues, which leaves Peter upset because he didn't marry Barbie when she was still useful. Barbie asks him to lend her some money but Peter tells her he's having trouble with IRS and hangs up. Afterward she tries to get a job at a clothing store, but she also complains about the offered salary, and when she sees her friend shopping there, she quickly hides, making her look like a weirdo. Charlie is the only one who knows how to behave while job hunting and using his father's influence. He easily gets a position at a bank. This makes his new boss angry with him because that job was supposed to be her niece's. She is always rude to Charlie and threatens to fire him as soon as she gets the chance. At the end of the day, the family gets together and the kids hand Herman whatever money they were able to collect. Barbie has earned the most, but it turns out she sold Javi's watch for it. Moments later, their faithful maid Maggie and her nephew Lucho come to the house to give them a hand, bringing along some clothes for the family to change into. Lucho takes advantage of Barbie's situation to bother her like she used to do to him, revealing he didn't bring any clothes for her, only soap. When Maggie insists, Lucho has no choice but to provide Barbie with a job as a waitress in a restaurant he works at. Javi also asks for help, and Lucho grins with a crazy idea. The next day Javi gets a job as a bus driver. On his first day, things go well for a while until another vehicle cuts in line before him and the driver makes fun of him, starting a rivalry between them. Meanwhile, Barbie goes to work at the restaurant and is disgusted to see chefs spitting on customers' meals. Rules say she must change into her uniform in a shared locker room, and when she protests, Lucho tells her that she deserves everything she is going through because of her terrible personality. Barbie hates the uniform but Lucho teases her for it, enjoying the sweet revenge. As time passes, the siblings start adjusting to their new life, cooking and cleaning for themselves. Although at first they struggle a lot because they don't know how things work, soon they get the hang of it. Javi's rivalry with a bus driver continues for weeks, and one day, he tries to race him to a parking spot. The buses begin driving side by side, allowing the drivers to argue all the way, but this distracts Javi and almost causes him to crash, which is seen by the police. Meanwhile, Barbie is not very good at being a waitress. Whenever a customer is mean and rude, she is even meaner, which causes the customers to walk away. Sometimes they throw things at her too and make her slip or drop the food, which is taken from her salary. Lucho also makes things worse by making the floor dirty when she's about to finish cleaning. While the kids are away working, Herman calls fancy servants to bring good food. In the evenings, the kids bring the little money they made, and Herman puts it all away in a savings box. He also works on doing some fixes around the house while hiding the newspaper away from his kids. One day, Charlie makes a mistake at his banking job and his boss calls him to her office. After closing the door, she shocks Charlie by suggesting he should do something to make up for the mistake. This results in the two of them getting frisky, and now the boss invites Charlie to her office whenever she is in the mood. At first Charlie enjoys it, but it becomes annoying when she doesn't leave him alone in his breaks. A few days later after dinner, Herman discovers Barbie trying to make herself puke to maintain her weight. He is in shock to learn that she has been doing it since she was in college, which was 8 years ago. Barbie reacts bitterly, saying that he never had time for his children and mentioning all the times his kids had been sick or having trouble that Herman didn't know about. This makes Herman realize how absent he has been from his children's lives. The next day, Lucho and Barbie go to the market together, and Lucho gifts her a new pair of shoes. Such a simple activity as buying groceries for the restaurant and trying several street foods allows them to bond and become closer than ever. Some of Lucho's friends see him eating with the bratty chick, and while they don't say anything, the judgment is obviously there. In the meantime at the golf club, Peter is telling a friend about how he missed the chance to pay off his debts, commenting on the bankruptcy and Kareem fleeing with the money. However, Peter's friend doesn't believe him because Kareem is right behind them. Peter immediately realizes that something is wrong and starts to investigate. Meanwhile, Javi finds his rival bus driver on the streets and starts a fight with him, but the silly confrontation suddenly stops after they find out they both read books by the same author. They start talking to each other more seriously and learn that their ambition in life is the same, to start a business of their own. At the restaurant, Barbie discovers she isn't given all her tips because she didn't meet the quota. She's about to throw a tantrum and Lucho has to drag her outside to give her a reality check. Part of the tips goes to the kitchen staff, and if she wants to meet the quota, she needs to be nice to the customers even if they're rude to her. A few weeks later, the family discovers they have finally earned enough money to be able to renovate the house. They begin working together on it, and while they chat, Herman mentions how bad Javi is at spelling. This causes Javi to reveal that he is dyslexic and has gone to therapy for it, calling out his dad for not even noticing what he paid for. Herman finally loses it, explaining that he had to work hard to give them a good life, and while he laments not having been able to take care of the mother's duties, he wishes the kids complained less and showed some gratitude. The following evening over dinner things are tense and awkward, but when Javi arrives late because he's been tapping his boss, the kids start teasing each other about their love lives and make Herman share some funny stories about his teen days. During the next few days, Barbie becomes a more efficient waitress and earns more tips while Javi gets along better with his fellow bus drivers. The family also continues to work together on renovating the house. One day at the restaurant, the owner throws a party for his employees. Barbie and Lucho dance, and thanks to Barbie having matured through hard work, Lucho finally accepts to kiss her. At the same time, Peter arrives at their house and meets Herman, explaining he knows about the lie and threatening to reveal the truth to his children if he doesn't get some money. At that moment, Barbie arrives, so Peter uses the chance to tell the family that he used some contacts to make Kareem return with the funds and reactivate their bank accounts, meaning that they can go back to their old lifestyle. The siblings are overjoyed, but Herman is blackmailed into staying silent. While the family gets ready to leave, Lucho comes by to pick Barbie up for their first date. However, Barbie says goodbye to him, feeling like she can't leave Peter after what he did for them. The next day, Herman goes to the office and asks Kareem for a solution. He wants to keep the secret from his kids, but he can't let Barbie marry Peter. Meanwhile, Barbie starts dress shopping for her wedding, but her heart is not in it. Her friend reminds her this is for the best. Sometime later, Herman and Kareem are in a meeting with Peter and a lawyer. Herman offers Peter money to walk out of Barbie's life, however Peter refuses and makes it worse by making Herman sign a contract that says Barbie's husband will be authorized to use as much money as he likes from her trust fund. This wording is on purpose, hoping he can convince Barbie to marry someone else. After the meeting, Herman asks Maggie for advice. She says he should tell his kids the truth because the longer he hides it, the longer they will take to forgive him. Herman trusts her and decides to do the right thing. In the meantime, Peter is already making business plans for the upcoming money. When Barbie visits, he asks her to get married immediately instead of organizing a huge party in months because he can't wait anymore. Barbie is nervous and unsure, but she still goes to the city hall with him. Ready to confess, Herman calls his sons and asks them to meet him immediately, but when he calls Barbie, Peter picks up only to quickly hang up. Worried, Herman calls a friend of Barbie's and finally learns about the wedding. Soon Herman and his sons are rushing to the city hall to stop Barbie, arriving right before she is about to sign the papers. Herman finally comes clean and tells them the truth about the fake bankruptcy, explaining that he lied because he wanted them to learn how difficult it is to earn money. He also reveals that Peter only wants Barbie's money and has been blackmailing him, and Kareem takes the chance to punch him. The siblings are furious at their father for lying to them and simply walk away without saying a word. After all this mess, the trio decides to move back into the old house, refusing to take German's help and ready to build a life on their own merits, working hard even if their father can't see it anymore because they won't talk to him. Javi and his fellow bus drivers open a car wash, and when his old friends come to him again, he dismisses them. Charlie finds a girlfriend of his age and is in a happy relationship while Barbie goes back to the restaurant and starts dating Lucho. Months later, on Barbie's birthday, everyone gathers at the house to celebrate. Someone knocks on the door and Barbie opens it to see Herman outside wishing her happy birthday. There is some hesitance and Herman thinks he should leave, but his children bring him inside and the family finally reunites. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.